Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Attack on Titan. Alright, so I was actually planning to do this OVA before season 3 part 2 started, but yeah, I never got around to it. I had a lot of things that I needed to focus on first, so I never had time for it, but we're going to do it now. I don't think there's any reason. I mean, people wanted me to react to this before season 3, so I'm guessing there can't be any future revelations that might be spoiled because I've watched this first. So yeah, it's the Lost Girls OVA 3. The only information I've got on this is that it surrounds Mikasa, so it's not got anything to do with Annie, even though she was the Lost Girls OVA first and second one. But this is apparently supposed to feature Mikasa. So yeah, I don't really know what this could be about. I mean, it can't be anything that's really happening. It can't be anything that's happening right now, put it that way. So yeah, we'll see. But I don't really have anything else to really talk about, so we're just going to get into this OVA and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, the OVA. Lost Girls 3, Lost in the Cruel World. That was interesting. I think this is needed, really, for her character, in a way, because we never got the opportunity to really see what Mikasa was truly like, or what she sort of felt pre her parents dying. I know that a lot of people see Mikasa as this one-note sort of character because of the stuff that she does, and I've seen it and I understand why, because it's not ever explained, really. It's all really in that episode in season 1 where you see her parents die, and then Eren sort of inspires her to become something more in a way, and it's almost like once she activates that Ackerman ability kind of thing, that her focus shifts and she becomes more blank. So I think it's a way of she becomes more of a one-note character in that regard because of that. But I think because it's never really there's no real, it's not exactly followed upon. We never really get stuff from her point of view or what's happening on the inside, so all you get's that from the outside. And I think the way that it's written, honestly, if I'm being particularly honest, is that you're kind of supposed to see that. I mean, Attack on Titan is an incredibly written story, so it's not entirely out of... I think people are supposed to, the writer... I like it when writing leaves things to the person's, whoever the viewer is, to think things through for themselves and to be able to make their own mind up on things, and be able to see it as is, as opposed to being told outright by the writers, oh, this is what happens, and being essentially treated like a child, like you can't understand exactly what's going on. I think there's some merit to writing that isn't just isn't just telling you everything that is supposed to be. I think there is merit in writing that allows you to give you the little details but not tell you outright, so that you need to kind of see it for yourself. But I think because there is this sort of thing about Mikasa, and a lot of the people that actually view the show, that they see Mikasa as this one-note character, that someone almost as if she might hold Eren back, and not allow him to do the things that people might see as oh, this is, we need Eren to do this because it's going to be great. And I think this OVA really does show that a lot. It shows Mikasa's insight into what she thinks anyway, but we get to see it immediately from the outset because of things that have changed. What if this had happened instead? So I really like that. And I think at the end there, it kind of just tells us that we're never really going to get that, I don't think. But it's always going to be a case of Mikasa's going to follow Eren regardless. you know. Now, through the towards the end there, when she was talking to that masked figure, it was a thing that came up where she was like, "Oh, you know, Aaron's got death in him. It's sort of inevitable. It's always going to happen." So I wonder, it could easily be a foreshadow of saying that at some point Aaron does die. But when, in a way? Because I almost see it as... I don't know if I've ever said this in a discussion or anything like that, but I always felt that the way this is written, it would absolutely be a case of Eren would die doing what he needed to do, you know? If it ever equated to the end of the Titans, then that would be another way. But there's also, with Attack on Titan, because we know so little, just like the characters do, it's written in that particular way, that, you know, there are things that can change. But I think what is prominent in Eren's character is that he will die doing what he knows he has to do, you know? It's always been kill the Titans. That's always what it's been about. So to me, it's never been a thing that's out of my head. Like, I've never once thought that, like, you know, Eren's going to stay alive throughout the entire thing. I think just all, like, sort of gradually, just by watching this show, it just kind of gives me that sense of, like, Eren will probably die in this, but it will be for a, like, it's going to be for a specific thing. It's going to be something that means something, you know. I don't know why I've always thought it just kind of, it just feels right in a way. So that could be, you know, like, you know, foreshadowing for that or whatever. But I think the main thing that it's pointing at is the fact that Mikasa will always just follow him no matter what, right? Like, it's something that was always going to be, no matter how things had changed. Like, if things were completely different, things were completely opposite. Like, yes, you're talking about a reality that had happened where there were no Titans, really. I mean, they were talked about, but the Colossal Titan never showed up. They barred the gates. So I don't know if they filled in the gates before the Colossal Titan had a chance to... So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Colossal Titan's so big, I don't know, it might be able to, like, break through an actual gate. The Armored one wouldn't, though. The Armored wouldn't be able to charge through. It could charge through a gate because it's, like, the weakest point. The Colossal Titan might be able to kick through a wall, but I don't know that. So, I don't know. It's basically from Mikasa's point of view of what would have happened if things were almost perfect in a way. If things had happened so much differently. Almost like the opposite of what happened. You know, the bandits, they never got there in time because they were getting devoured by these wolves and stuff. Interesting enough, the wolves did sense Mikasa's power, and that's interesting in of itself. I mean, if I had watched this before part 2, I don't think, well, it wouldn't have surprised me, because they had a thing in place where, like, they'd already said in the first part of season 3, like, they'd already elaborated on the fact that the Ackermans have this kind of this power within them. So, you know, it is like a physical thing. So it's not surprising that the wolves were able to sort of pick up on it in a way. But yeah, I do like this this OVA, because I think it's almost a perfect OVA, because in a way it's not needed in the main story. I don't think you ever need it, but to have an insight into what Mikasa actually, like, what her feelings are and what her thoughts are towards certain things, because it's something that we've never gotten. And as a main character, it is sort of interesting to think that over the course of this whole show, we've never really gotten an insight into her character other than when she was a kid. And at that point, it doesn't, you know, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't matter at that point, you know, because it's just, there's a lot of things that has happened between then and here, you know, like the main things, it's what, the crucial part of the story is what you want your main characters to focus on and get a feeling on what they think about it. And I think by having this, it shows you exactly what Mikasa thinks regardless. So she's always going to follow Eren. And I like the sort of similarities. So yeah, they even disbanded the Survey Corps in this sort of extra reality thing that might have happened, which would have been interesting to see exactly how that would have helped. I mean, I don't see why disbanding the Survey Corps would have stopped like Bertolt and Reiner doing their thing, you know. So yeah, I love at the beginning when at the start of the mask guy, right, when he grabbed her, right, and he was like, oh, who wants this? I'm gonna make this little girl into a murderer. At first I was like, well, what the fuck, you know what I mean? But then I figured he's a figment. He is an extra being in this reality alongside Mikasa. That whoever that faceless mask guy is, he knows, like, he's not like a part of the extra reality. He's sort of like in her mind, fighting with herself in a way. So he's a figment. But I like the quote. It's like, you are lost, and it's like that quote I can make sense of. I think the reason why this OVA is also called Lost Girls and it's part 3 is because I think Annie is in the same boat in a way. She wants to live in a different reality, so she goes out of her way to try and help people that she's supposed to kill, right? You know what it is? I think I've actually watched this OVA at the perfect time. I think I have, because after episode 15, we see their point of view of when they kill Marco, right? And I said in episode 15 in the post discussion, I said that Annie has this way about her where she doesn't feel fully on board with killing this race of humanity, whereas Reiner kind of is for that mission, right? And he wants to see that through, whereas Annie didn't like that. And I think that's probably that, like, quote of saying you are lost is the same thing with Annie in her OVAs, her two, like the 2 Lost Girls episodes, where she is not fully on board with what the hell is going on. And I don't think in a similar way, I don't think Reiner and Bertolt are either. They're just more on board. They're more like, you know. But then again, they've gone through a lot more with, like, against the initial crew. Annie did do, like, her part for it, and she did try to. But at the very end, when she thought she was going to die, her immediate thought was to escape and try and get back to her, like, to, you know, to stay alive. So I think there is more to Annie, and if I'm being honest, I kind of want Annie to be that bridge. If Annie could be that bridge in between this humanity and then whatever Reiner and Bertolt's humanity is, and be that bridge where she sees both sides and she doesn't want to take a side, that would be great. Because I like Annie, I do. Out of the 3, out of Bertolt, Reiner, and Annie is the one that I feel like is most. She was more stuck. You know, she was more stuck in between. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to get into that because that's a different. But, you know, basically saying, yeah, I think Annie is more like sort of that bridge in between. And I think that quote almost certainly cements it for me. A lost girl, like somebody who isn't entirely okay with the path that they're on, you know. It's like one of those things where it's just like, you know, you're lost in the world. It's not right what we're doing, and I think it signifies because Mikasa in this one is basically in her head, envisioning an alternate reality, whereas the OVA that took place in Annie's is in the actual, like, that actually happened, you know. So it's almost like a girl lost in her envisioning of the world with Mikasa. With Annie, it's lost in the actual world. So I like that. That's very interesting. I like that a lot. The mirrored faceplate as well. The guy who had the mirrored faceplate. Yeah, the person with the mirrored guy is not a character in of itself. The reason of having a mirrored faceplate is because you're looking into yourself. It's essentially Mikasa killing her, like, her past self, and realizing that there was a reason why she put up this this sort of very cold exterior in the first place, you know, knowing how cruel the world is, and that it would always get there eventually, so inevitable in a way. And then the last thing I wrote down as well is that after Mikasa actually stabbed him, nobody noticed. Did you notice? Nobody noticed what he was doing before he got stabbed. And you know, he said, like, "What do you think, people? Like, I made this girl stab me." Now, no one even noticed before she stabbed him. So again, I think that's another symbolization of, like, it doesn't matter as much as the other symbolization of, like, her killing herself or the Lost Girls thing. I think it's more just a symbolization of people didn't care. It's like what Eren says. It's like people don't care that they're caged up and they want to get outside. It's like people didn't care until the Titan showed up, you know? And I think it's sort of like it's like one of those things. It's like people don't really care until it affects them in a way, you know? So, yeah. I really like that OVA. That has given me a whole nice evaluation of what Mikasa is as a person, and I think it adds everything to her character. So yeah, I really like that. And I think I'm glad I watched it before the rest of season 3. I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of season 3, but if there's anything like involving Mikasa or anything like that, I have a sort of hold on what her character is that I think I can. It matters more now with her character. So anything that can. Any side stuff that can, like, increase, like, a character's almost value in a way, you know what I mean, I'll always like. So yeah, that was a really good OVA, but yeah, that is all. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content, you can get yourself over and join my Discord and talk to me or the community as well. And Patreon. So I do have a Patreon. If you do want to support me, that'd be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's, like, early access, $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week as well. So if you're interested in my reactions to that, then you can come in at the access tier patron. Full length, that is the $10 a month. That gives you access to my full length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. So if you want to see my full reactions to anything, that's where you want to go. Exclusive tier, that gives you a bonus reaction that you can watch, which is 7 Deadly Sins. So if you want to see my reaction to that, you can become an exclusive tier patron. Elite tier, that is the $50. Every time you pay $50, you get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go at the back of the list by about 7 shows. Might take me a while to get round to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait that long and you want your show to be reacted to next, then you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that is all. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.